And welcome to the Factor Uncensored. We made it through the storms, thank goodness. Now, imagine how embarrassing it would be to be caught with your pants down while on the job. Officer Anthony Hare in San Diego has now resigned from his position. Another officer had to come to his rescue in 2023 after Officer Hare accidentally locked himself in the back seat of his squad car with a woman that he had detained. In Officer Hare's body camera footage, the detainee can be heard saying she was down to have sex, and she said it multiple times. Here's what happened next.
Don't say that right now. I said don't say that right now because everything's being recorded right now. What's going on? Sir, step out of the vehicle for me.
That is him getting out of the back of the car, and the woman is still back there. Both Hare and the detainee denied anything happened in the back seat. He says he was just checking on her. However, San Diego police found traces of semen on Hare's belt. My next guest says this kind of thing is not that uncommon. And joining us on the Factor Uncensored is Matilda Saragosa. Matilda, obviously, this is one for the books. San Diego police officer found himself locked in the back of his car as a result of possibly taking an invitation to a young female suspect that he arrested for car theft. Your thoughts on this? Anthony Hare, he left his post before he was to go before investigators to answer to what he was doing in the back of his vehicle with this woman. Your thoughts on that?
I just was like, I was taking so far back when I saw that. Like, how do you even explain that if you were in such a situation and you had to call somebody to come get you out of the back seat? But, you know, coming from the lifestyle that I've lived for such a long time, there's plenty of corruption out there in some of these agencies. I mean, granted, we have a lot of individuals who do well at their job and protect and serve the community. But when I was in the lifestyle, and yet to even this day, I still hear stories of those individuals who do take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves, you know, whether it's a state level, city level, government level. We hear of a lot of individuals that are not conducive to the job and the positions that they've been given. So I myself was a product of that. I had been given multiple opportunities to exchange sex for freedom. And
that would be with law enforcement officers?
Correct. When I was...
Go down. I mean, do you initiate it? Do they initiate it? What?
Well, of course, I never wanted to go to jail, and individuals don't want to go to jail. So you're almost willing to give up almost anything. And of course, I was already in the lifestyle, but most of the time they had initiated it with me. When they would put me in the backseat of the car, they would drive around and then they would park. And then, you know, they would tell me this is what it's going to be and this is what it's going to look like. And it would happen. And then I would just get let out of the backseat of the car and they would take off. There was many times that some police officers would even knock on the hotel door and tell me, do not come out. We're about to have a prostitution sting and we don't want you to get arrested. And, you know, sometimes I found myself having conversations with them because after knowing them for such a long time, I was out there almost 13 years. You know, we've had this relationship where they would see me and I would see them, and I would ask questions like, why and how come I didn't get arrested, or what was your reasoning for protecting me? And their response was that I didn't make them look like they weren't doing their job. You know, I was well kept, I was clean, I wasn't out there every 5 minutes. You know, I'd make my money and I'd go in and they wouldn't see me for hours. So I didn't make them look like they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And so they kind of favored that, opposed to the individuals that were just out there smoking crack behind the bushes, you know? So those are some of the experience that I had.
But did they want, in those instances where they were protecting you from other law enforcement officers and a sting, did they want something in exchange down the road, or they did it out of the kindness of their heart?
Well, at first it was an exchange, and then later on down the line, some of the times it was the kindness of the heart. I mean, I've even had them give me money when they see me in a dire situation. They
Mhm.
would give me money. So it's weird to say, but it happened. Like we built a rapport over this.
Now, even if there is not an exchange of sex or something else, is it a good thing or a bad thing to have officers that close to you where they're looking out for your interests, even though they may be protecting you from other law enforcement officers? Are they hindering, the effort?
Absolutely. At the time, I mean, of course, it's a godsend at the time. When you're in your addiction and you don't want to have to go sell your body, and somebody gives you $20, $30, $40, that's a godsend. It keeps you inside and it keeps you from having to perform. But at the end of the day, I would have much preferred somebody to give me the help that I needed.
Mhm.
And after many years of being out there on my sixth prostitution arrest, I was glad to have gone to jail. That's how I was able to meet Catherine. I went into the We've Been There, Done That program, and I've gotten my life together since then. So, I wished at some point, maybe if I would have went earlier, things could have changed earlier, but that wasn't the case. So,
And let's look at this Anthony Hare officer, former officer in San Diego. When you look at and read the story, the female suspect in the vehicle with him was pretty aggressive.
yeah,
She did not want to go to jail and she offered multiple times. So, what if you're caught in a situation? Obviously, you know what you're supposed to do. You're
right.
not supposed to engage and get involved. But what if you're put under tremendous pressure? I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah, well,
But what if you're put under a
the
dilemma
flesh
like
wins.
Anthony Hare was, a San Diego police officer?
I mean, I still feel he had an ethical responsibility to protect and serve. And when he took that oath, he should have at least honored it by not doing what he was supposed to do, no matter what. I mean, okay, so if you had a murderer in the backseat of the car and he's telling you, just need to go home and I'm so sorry, do you conform to that? That doesn't make it okay. So what's the difference?
Mhm.
Sex, it was being used as a tool. She knew how to use it, and of course, the more aggressive she spoke on it, the more challenging it became for him, and he fell prey and he became the victim.
Yeah, and losing his career as well.
Correct.
Matilda Saragosa, always good to hear you and your colorful stories that you regale us with here on the Factor Uncensored.
Somebody has to share it.